You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, Days of Our Lives fans, you may think that Brady Black and Kristen DiMera are over and done and just co-parents right now, which is what the soap has told us. However, these ongoing issues with their daughter Rachel Black and the upcoming death of John Black could see Brady falling back into Kristen's waiting arms once again. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and let's talk about Brady and whether it's about to be a cold day in Salem because he might take back Kristen after swearing he was done with her for good. And hey, hit subscribe if you're not following us. So things have been tense between Brady and Kristen for a while, more than usual. Things got really bad between them when Rachel started sending text threats to Ava, and then the kid claimed she learned how to treat her enemies from her mom, Kristen. And then things got even more tense when Rachel ran away and accidentally met her namesake and her grandmother, Rachel Blake, and that led to Rachel's crazy grandma kidnapping Brady's then girlfriend, Ava Vitali, with an assist from little Rachel, and then, Kristen wound up party to it. It was just a mess. And all these antics from Rachel that Kristen seemed to be a role model for completely cost Brady his relationship with Ava. He's pretty salty about that, but I mean, can you blame her for not sticking around? So after that kidnapping incident, Kristen agreed with Brady that, maybe Rachel should get some therapy. And recently on Days of Our Lives, Brady came over to celebrate Rachel's birthday. It was an Alice in Wonderland themed team party, but the kid only had Kristen and Brady and her uncle EJ on hand. And that's because little Rachel has pretty much no friends at school because, let's face it, she's a tiny terror who probably scares the bejesus out of her classmates. And that's why Kristen and Brady wanted to give Rachel a special family night since all the kids refused to attend the party. And then even her Aunt Belle had to leave the party before the festivities really kicked into high gear. EJ and Kristen were kind of trading barbs about Ava's kidnapping, and as District Attorney Belle needed to excuse herself ASAP so she didn't have any conflicts of interest or have to do anything about the stuff she was hearing. And of course, Rachel was disappointed that Aunt Belle couldn't stay, but they made the best of it after she went. And it was quite interesting that little Rachel wanted EJ to stay for her celebration. Now, our leaker told us months ago, and I shared with you guys, that it is little Rachel who picked up the gun that Johnny left and she shot EJ. And if you remember, Roman went over to the DiMera mansion and he found the gun pretty sloppily stuck in a planter out front. And that doesn't seem like something Johnny would do. If he decided not to shoot EJ, I believe Johnny would have taken the gun back to Roman's, or even if he had, that seems a very strange thing to do for somebody who is smarter than that. And not that Rachel's dumb, she's not. She's wicked, evil, smart, but a kid that age isn't going to think about forensics or getting rid of an attempted murder weapon, So Days of Our Lives this week had EJ and Kristen and Brady talking about the shooting, and then Rachel kind of did this big fake yawn and insisted she was tired and ready for bed. And Rachel even said she could wait until the morning to open the rest of her gifts. What kid does that, right? And then Kristen and EJ continued bickering after Rachel went to bed, and a furious Kristen knocked the tea tray and she sent a platter crashing to the floor in the mansion. And then we saw Rachel rush down and into Kristen's arms looking for comfort after a nightmare about a gunshot. Kind of interesting nightmare that Rachel had, right? How many little girls dream about gunshots? So, of course, Kristen comforted Rachel and explained that she accidentally knocked into the tray. But it just seems more likely that Kristen and Brady's kid was excited for Uncle EJ being at the party out of guilt. And Rachel might have been feeling more guilt when she fibbed and said she was tired and went off to her room just to get out of the situation. That and her nightmare, makes you wonder if she did shoot her Uncle EJ, like our leaker said, or at a minimum that Rachel knows who did. EJ still thinks it's Johnny and he's covering for him, but he's also been pointing the finger at Kristen. And if she finds out Rachel shot EJ, well, Kristen may protect Rachel by covering for her on Days of Our Lives. Right now, Brady and Kristen are determined to help Rachel through this thing, whatever it is she's going through. And with a criminal mom in Kristen and an addict dad in Brady, we all know Rachel has some deep-seated issues. They seem to be doing okay as co-parents right now, and Kristen and Brady are acting as the united front where Rachel is concerned, but Kristen and Brady may continue to get closer as they try to help their daughter and cross over those co-parenting lines into something else. So this Rachel stress obviously is pulling them closer, and then something else tragic happens. Two things, actually. We know that John Black's death is right around the corner on Days of Our Lives, and Brady is going to be devastated about his father dying, plus Kristen may take the news hard as well. Not only is John the grandpa of her daughter, Rachel, but Kristen, if you don't remember, had a romantic relationship with John in the past. It's been a minute. And with Brady and Kristen spending more time together as a family and comforting each other, that might lead to sparks flying. Brady basically told Belle, and this has been, I don't know, like 6 weeks ago or so, when she was talking about her attraction to EJ that she really wished she didn't feel. And he was talking about his attraction to Kristen that he didn't feel. And Brady said that Kristen's kind of like alcohol to him at this point. It's tempting, it's toxic, it's something he can get addicted to, and something he has to avoid falling back in with again. And with Ava gone, there's a chance Brady might fall back in with Kristen again, especially with him losing his dad, John, and Kristen stepping up to comfort him. Things could take a turn with Brady and Kristen. So Days fans may see Brady comforting Kristen about Rachel, particularly if they figure out their kid shot EJ. And Kristen may console Brady after his dad's death. This week, of course, Marlena gets a call that seems positive about John, but Marlena's optimism doesn't last long, and we soon get the reveal that John may have been found but not alive. And his exit is set as open-ended because the writers were trying to leave room for Drake Hogestyn's possible return. So with Kristen right there offering Brady a shoulder to cry on, there's just no telling how far it may go. A lot of people actually hook up at or after a funeral, after a wake, a celebration of life, because it's life affirming. The number of babies born 9 months after a death in the family is statistically significant. You want to be close to somebody, you want to feel alive after you experience a loss. And Brady, to be fair, has had a lot of loss lately. So yeah, Kristen might have him back in her arms before too long. And we all know she's crazy about Brady and would be thrilled to reconcile with him. She'll take any crumb he'll give her. And little Rachel would be excited too, because obviously she's been wanting her parents back together. That's why she was terrorizing Ava. So John's death and Rachel's criminal antics could actually bring Kristen and Brady back together. Wait and see.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.